To start the meeting. So first of all, welcome to the Central Hounslow Area Forum. My name is Councillor Dani Said and I am the chair of the Central Hounslow Area Forum. I'd like to welcome all of you, the very few of you that are here, but thank you so much for coming. I hope that some of you were able to speak to some of the stall holders in the marketplace today. And that some of the information and any advice that you may have asked has been helpful for you all. Right, we are now going to move to the formal part of the meeting where we will work through the items on the published agenda, which I hope some of you have been able to see. Please, all of you note that this meeting is being recorded and it will be made available for viewing on Hounslow Council's YouTube page in the next few days. With that in mind, members of the public, please refrain from giving any personal details, such as your addresses or private information. Thank you. For tonight's proceedings, I, as chair, will be running the meeting and I will be inviting people to speak. We have a full agenda. However, I will endeavour to allow as many people as possible to speak. If they're now, sorry, not speaking clearly here. If there are no objections, I would like to bring forward the community spotlight item just before the open forum to allow this information to be shared. With that in mind, I would ask members of the public to wait their turn and not interrupt others when they are talking or comment at all during contribution of others. Another point is please avoid questions which have already been asked. This is so as to allow the greatest range of questions from the attendees. It may not be possible for everybody here to ask a question due to time constraints. I don't think that's going to be the problem today, but you never know. Anyway, if you do have any questions, there are evaluation forms available from Amoy Gray there at the back, and you can write down your question and provide your email address, and then you will receive a response directly. Any other that's it. Okay, I'm going to start off with the next agenda item, and that's to ask for any apologies of absence, which we have received from Councillors Preetam and Ajmer Gariwal and Councillor Chowdhury. And I believe Councillor Chopra is running late. And we've also received apologies from Councillor Jagdish Sharma. Anybody else? Okay, we will now go to agenda item 3, which is the police update. I would like to first of all welcome Inspector Javid Khan and Sergeant Michael Binns to share the crime and police updates.
I'll try and get it right. Thank you very much for coming. Today we don't have our stats for the crime data, and I'm going to give you some of our websites where you can go and look at these at your own leisure and look at your own wards, etc. We're more to, because we've got limited time, I was going to take more of a question and answer session. If you have any questions regarding anything around policing this is, then please fire away and we'll discuss that. And hopefully I can answer some of your questions. Just an overall, for the last 4 months, we've been doing a bit of what we call our summer plan. And the summer plan involved our 3 town centres, which is Chiswick, Feltham and Hounslow. And most of our crime is generated within these 3 areas. So we've been concentrating all our resources within this, and we've been quite successful. We've had over 70-odd arrests. We've issued over 13 CBOs and stuff. My colleague will shortly give out some of the figures to you so that you have an understanding of what we've been doing. That includes arresting people with knives for robberies, burglaries, and some quite serious offences which have occurred around the area. That's the work that we continue. Obviously, we're quite resource impactive, these events, but we try to do our best. As you know, the Met is having to make some difficult choices around cuts, so there's been some changes around the neighbourhoods, the policing model, our response teams and resources and stuff. We're also impacted by what goes on in central London around demonstrations, around the hotels, the Palestine marches and stuff. So forever we are trying to have a balancing act, trying to get our things right here and trying to serve our communities, especially around the areas that we live. And everybody has concerns, no doubt. So besides that, what we'll do is we'll talk about some of the figures. My colleague here, Michael Binns, will read them out to you, and then we'll talk about where you can get sort of personal data and information around policing.
Hello everyone, I'm Mike Binns, one of the neighbourhood sergeants in Hounslow. Just to give you a bit of a snapshot and some of the work that we've been up to the last 90 days, the more detailed description of that will be shared with the local authority very shortly. The team have been very busy, basically saying you said we did approach in respect to dealing with ASB in the town centre. So where I can, in its simplest form, where we've got a lot of antisocial behaviour in the town centre, whether that's through littering, street drinking, begging, they've been dealing with those individuals, and when they've been prosecuted is in following up with criminal behaviour orders with the court. So it gives us more powers to deal with them if they repeat offend. And in this case, to date, so this year we've dealt with 17 criminal behaviour orders, with another 18 waiting on the court results before they're issued, which is it's a lot of work for the officers to do. Out of the 19, we've had 19 breaches of criminal behaviour orders, and 2 of which have received custodial sentences. So it's just one way that we can give people a warning, give them a chance, but if they continue to reoffend, we can deal with them with the court support to try and make that difference. In respect of the 90 days of actions that the Inspector Khan was talking about, we've granted 4 criminal behaviour orders. There's 18 pending, as I've touched on. They've had 26 antisocial behaviour warnings, which is, again, it's giving people that opportunity, if they're street drinking, educating them, showing that there's a PSPO in place, and if they continue to offend, just saying we escalate that prosecution against them. A number of fixed penalties and Section 59, which is a antisocial use of a motor vehicle. So that's just in the 90 days. But what's more significant is of the officers who have been used from all over the Hounslow borough. They're not just Hounslow town centre officers, because there aren't that many, unfortunately. So from the 1st of July, we've had a knife point robbery in a shop where the offenders were arrested following some CCTV reviews by the officers and some proactive patrols. They were quickly apprehended. On the 27th of August, through a live facial recognition, which you may or may not be aware with, it occurs in the town centre. We had 7 arrests from that one session alone, with 10 further stops for significant offences, not arrestable offences, but stops of people that we need to know who they were and where they were. 28th of August, a warrant was executed at a shop within the Hounslow area where we understood that prohibited weapons, so samurai swords, knives that you wouldn't use in the kitchen were being sold. When they executed that warrant with trading standards, it was staggered to see that 2,068 prohibited weapons were seized and taken off, kept in our custody and will be destroyed. So that's 2,068 weapons that are not going to go out into the street and not going to be used for robberies, etc. If this happens all over the organisation, we will start making a dent. I know it's a small dent, but it's a really good dent for Hounslow. 5th of September, there were some proactive patrols by the Hounslow Town Centre team that's led to a stop and search being carried out on a male that was acting suspiciously, and he was found to have a 10-inch machete secreted down his tracksuit bottoms. And you may be aware through the media recently, but there was a stabbing of a response officer in Hounslow who intercepted offenders for attempted cash machine robbery, which we've seen a lot of. The officer luckily is fine, and all the 3 persons that were in the process of robbing that cash machine have been arrested. That's on top of our day-to-day work around weapons sweeps, engagement events, etc. So just a snapshot for the last 90 days, the teams have been really, really busy. They're flexing, and when I say flexing, you've got officers from Chiswick working here or in Feltham and making sure we cover those resources. So hopefully that might answer some of your questions, and in the very, very near future, we'll be able to publish the finer details of what we've achieved and the results of some of those arrests for you. One thing before, if there are going to be questions, one ask from me is one of the things that we're finding when we're doing our work is the lack of reporting to police about offences. So we're talking about violence against women and girls being one of the relevant things and something I oversee. Can I just ask for yourselves, for anybody you know and friends or any WhatsApp groups you're on, if you hear of anybody who's victim of any form of harassment or sexual assault, that they report it, because without that reporting, we don't know it's happened, we can't crime map it, I then don't know where to put my resources, and I've got funds coming available to me that I can get officers on overtime to target these areas above and beyond what we already do. So all I'd say, we just need people to report things to us so we know where they're happening and we can manage that threat, harm and risk. Thank you.
Just on that, they don't always have to come to the police station to report it. You can report it online. There's a Street Safe website as well. My colleague will give you the details in a minute. If you can share these with your friends, family, if you're on WhatsApp groups or part of any ward panels and stuff, and sharing with the community would be really great. The far afield it can go, it would be excellent, because it gives us an opportunity to get people to report offences and have the confidence that we will do something about it. So on that, we'll just take any questions. Anybody got any questions?
Thank you both. I'd like to ask if any of the councillors have any questions, please. Councillor Umair.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the stats. I think there was some, I would say, positives that probably came out from the stats, particularly I think the one that stood out to me was the 2,060 odd knives or prohibited weapons. I think that's, is that something that you're just started doing, or is this something you've been actively doing over the years?
So we actively do this, but obviously there is times when young people are getting knives from certain places. It's getting the intelligence together, and all these things take time, and then having sufficient evidence to go to court to get a warrant in order to execute. This time there was 3 forces working on this. So there was the Met, Trading Standards, Surrey Police and Thames Valley, because this individual was selling to different people from different places. We had tried previously to do test purchasing, but he was quite switched on, so he could tell and wouldn't sell to us. But luckily we got the evidence, went to court, got the warrant and executed it, and as a result, at some stage in the future he's at court, and hopefully that'll be dealt with appropriately.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's a great initiative. So yeah, definitely good to hear some more of this over the next few years. Thanks.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mia, and then Councillor Rashid.
Thank you, Officer. You just mentioned that you have made about 70 arrests related to knife crime and theft. Could you just clarify what types of theft these were, and how serious the knife crime at this moment in our area?
Sorry, sir, I missed some of that. Can you clarify what? Sorry.
You have made 70 arrests related to knife crime and theft. So I just want to clarify what sort of theft these were and how serious the knife crime in our area.
So if we look at the Met as a whole, there's 32 boroughs in the Met and what they call 12 BCUs. We sit somewhere down to about the 16th, 17th for crime. So we're reasonably a safe borough compared to many of the others. I can't compare certain places like central London, it's obviously going to be busier to us, but if we compare like Richmond, Hillingdon and stuff, we are quite low. So crime-wise, or the fear of crime, we think there's more crime here than there actually is. And that's something we're trying to work on to give positive information out to say that Hounslow isn't that bad. When it comes to crime, and we say we've had X amount of arrests, that incorporates thefts, robberies, knife crime, violent crime. When I say violent crime, that's assaults, street fights, theft of bikes. So there's lots of categories in that. So they're not all violent crime. So it's not all assaults when we say some of it is petty stuff, a couple of people pushing each other. We still have to report it and have to deal with the individuals and stuff. But I haven't got all the list. I mean, when we look at, in the last month, we've had 3 possession with intent to supply. And when I say possession with intent to supply, we've had 80 to 100 wraps of drugs, which are probably street value of about 1,000 to 1,500 quid. So 3-4 different people have been arrested for that as well. And that's something that we're continuing because we see that on the high street, that there's been a little bit of a raise in drug trade and stuff, and we're working on tackling that. We've got lots of things going on, which I can't really discuss here.
Any particular spot where they're dealing the drugs, and is there anything?
Again, it's one of them fluid things. So initially, at the bottom of the high street, there was a lot of engagement. So we've been hitting that, and because we have more visibility there, they move. So then it went into the park area, not Lambton Park, Inwood Park, that side.
So that means the police has got the idea of the hotspots. Is there any plan in place to tackle those?
That's what we are doing. So as we get increased numbers, like I said to you before, one of our majority of our problems is that our resources are taken away quite a lot in order.
Thank you. Just one more question. There's a video in circulation there. One officer got stabbed in Hounslow. How true it is?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
There's a video in circulation. I saw on TikTok, somebody sent me, the one police officer been stabbed in Hounslow. How true it is?
True.
It's true, yeah?
So there was an officer, so basically I think my colleagues already alluded to it. We've been having some cash point robberies. So people have been withdrawing money and then people have been turning up and showing them a knife and taking it. As a result of descriptions, what happened earlier on in the day, officers were on patrol looking for these individuals and they saw them. When they stopped them and tried to arrest them, there was a bit of a scuffle. And during that scuffle, one of the suspects stabbed the officer. Luckily, it was not serious. 2 stabbings it got, but they ended up tasering this individual, and 3 suspects were arrested. All 3 are involved in these robberies. Subsequent investigation, without going into it too much, shows that these have been involved in quite a few robberies over the last month. So now we are dealing with
So good to know the officer is not quite serious. The incident is actually quite worrying. These 3 people are actually known to the police? Have they had previous conviction or any records?
They probably have. I don't know that. I have no doubt they will have.
I'd be very surprised
If they didn't. But I think that's something that police officers face all the time.
Thank you, officer.
It's something. So just on the serious crime, I know you probably all heard there was a murder, stabbing last month in Hounslow at the bottom of the high street. It's not something that happens every day. That's our first murder in 3 years outside on the streets. So we're not in a bad place. I don't want people going away worried that these stabbings are taking place every day.
Councillor Batty and then Councillor Romero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Rashid Bhatti. I'm one of the councillors for Hounslow Central Ward, which is where we are at the moment. I'd just like to thank the police officers, Javed Khan, and also the sergeant. They do a splendid job. It's a very, very difficult thing to do and deal with. All you guys are very well aware the system, how it works, how the police go through all the hard work, and where they go and take all those culprits to the courts. Different game altogether. We know that, we all hear about it, and I wish to thank them dearly for what they do. It's a very hard job. Thank you also for presenting your report, which is really thorough. I had a talk with the officers beforehand, and they gave me a really, really good talk and explanation of what they do. I personally have seen police in the high street a lot more than what we've seen previously. So having put all this together, I think they deserve real good thanks. Thank you, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Could I just finish on 2 or 3 points, please? Ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that we've been promoting lately is on the website, Met Police, your area. If you go on that and put in your postcode, it gives you who your local officers are, who you can contact and stuff, and their contact details. Also gives you what the crime rate in the area is, what the most prolific crimes, etc. It dots them in order. And then also you can have a look at where the hotspots are and stuff like that, so that if you need to question your local ward officers, you can do. But it breaks down also the priorities that they have. So each ward should have 3 priorities, like ASB, vehicle crime if they have that problem, or thefts. Each one has got different ones because it's a different problem, and they normally set by with the ward panels. Please have a look at them because it affects you in your area, and if you have any questions, contact your local ward team. Also on there will be meetings that your ward teams are holding, so if you wish to go and speak to them at these meetings, they're on there. So that's one thing. We also used to use OWL as one of our ways of communicating and X and stuff. As a police organisation, we're moving away from that, and we've now got what we call Met Engage. If you could all sign up on Met Engage, it will give you information. So we've trialled this in different parts of the UK, and it found out to be an amazing tool to get information. And we can break it down to communities, down to a street level, to young people, to pensioners, to anything that we want. So we can put information in, say this needs to go to everybody who's at the age of 60 and above, and that's what it will do. If we say this is just one street and Montague Road, it will send information to all the people in Montague Road with intelligence or information. Or if there's something happening in your area, we can tell you. So it's a good thing to have, and it's on metengage.co.uk. So it's obviously voluntary, but we're trying to get as many people on this so that we can keep you updated of any incidents that are occurring. It's up-to-date intelligence as well and stuff. It's not a platform for reporting crime, but it's more around informing you guys what we're doing and what's happened in your area. And the last thing was, yes, metpolice.uk is a website where you can go on and look at if you need to make a complaint or you want to write a good work email to say that, you know, we've done something well. And it gives you lots of information on there around your areas, crime stats and data as well, site, and you can break down the crimes yourself to down to your area, and they will give you a whole list of crimes. Stop and search is another tool if you're interested in that. Met stats and data. If you go in that, stop and search, it breaks down who's been stopped, ages, groups, ethnicity, and stuff like that. So all that information is available to you guys. And then if you come to these sort of meetings, if you have a look and you have any questions, then please feel free to ask.
Thank you. We'll just have one last question from Councillor Mayor, and then I'm going to take it to the members of the public. So if anybody has a question, please raise your hands, and somebody will come to you with a microphone after the councillor has spoken.
Thanks, Chair. Just a quick one on e-bikes. I know there's been quite a bit of crime related to e-bikes, particularly on social media. I've seen phone thefts related on e-bikes and all sorts. But I'm more concerned about the overspeeding of e-bikes and any other crime. Is there an extra plan for that in Hounslow?
Yeah, so we've had 2 operations. We've seized 10 bikes so far over in the 2 operations that we had. We had 8 on the first one and 2 on the second one. I think they all got wind that we were doing this operation and left the area where bikes have been modified, the e-bikes have been modified. So anything that's been modified from the normal standard that they buy from when it comes from the factories and the manufacturers is illegal. And we've had to take them because some of those e-bikes are faster than some of the cars that we have. They get reach speeds of 60, 70 miles an hour. So we've taken quite a few of them from people that unfortunately, they are delivery drivers and obviously they want to make their deliveries faster on time. But sadly, it's illegal and they can't do it. And so we've done that. We have previously tried to, without going off topic too much, tried to stop bikes coming up and down this road, but because it's deemed as a highway and not a public, pedestrianised area, we can't do anything about that. That's something that the highways will have to look at again if they decide to do it. But we continue to do these operations. But as we look in central London, yes, there has been a spate of where these bikes have been used for robberies, but it is predominantly central London. We have very rarely in this area that we've had robberies involving e-bikes, where phones have been snatched and stuff. So again, reassured that we're not the worst borough in the Met.
Thank you. Does anybody want to ask a question? Right. In that case, Councillor Chopra, you may ask a question. Okay. Councillor Chopra now. I've said you can, and then the lady.
Thank
Just
you
2
so
minutes.
much. I just wanted to ask the officers, I can't see you from here, but hi.
Hi.
I'm from Hounslow West. I'll stand up because otherwise... I'm from Hounslow West, Council for Hounslow West. We only have one police officer, and that's a PCSO. And we've had that for a long time. And it's really not enough because our area is quite busy, quite a lot of things happen there. I don't want to say dangerous, but a lot of things happen at Hounslow West, at the shopping area. I think one is not enough, and she's only a PCSO, so she can't make arrests.
So,
we just want to know how long that's going to be like that, because we get promised there'll be another one coming soon, but it's been ages.
So Dana is your PCSO, and there's another Dana as well. Dana Stevenson was the PC, and sadly she's off at the moment on maternity leave. I have a replacement coming on 29th of September, so there will be one PC, and obviously Dana will be the PCSO for a short while, so you will have 2 officers. I have allocated resources from Hounslow Heath Ward, where 2 officers do come down and patrol within, or support us in that area. As part of our summer plan as well, we have been working with officers so that they come in. So we've been delegated the 3 town centres, Feltham, Hounslow and Chiswick. But we're also treating Hounslow West as a bit of a town as well, so we do put resources in there occasionally. Obviously, they're not going to be in the side streets everywhere, because it's predominantly concentrated by the shops and stuff where the thefts are occurring. But I will have more officers as we go into the future.
All sorts of things do happen in the park, so they do need to patrol that area.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because, I mean, she's on her own, and I don't know if you know, but she was actually attacked herself recently, and then she was away for some time. I mean, it's not a great situation for her to be on her own, especially when she can't even make arrests as well.
No, I agree. I do agree, but we are trying best with what we have, and I'm trying to find support. So obviously, with limited numbers that we already have, on 29th I get another officer, so there will be 2 for your ward. Standard is 3 officers, 1 PCSO and 2 PCs anyway. So you will get 2, and then Dana hopefully will return sometime early next year from her maternity leave, and then you'll have your full strength. Unfortunately, when officers are off on these type of leaves, we can't replace them with another officer. So we just have to wait for Dana to come back, but hopefully you'll have 3 officers soon.
Does that mean that we have none at the moment?
Say again, sorry?
Does that mean we have none at the moment if she's on maternity leave?
So while she's off on maternity, there was another officer up till about 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, and he's resigned from the job. So sadly, I have to wait, put in for another officer and have to wait, and he's been allocated a date of 29th of September.
Okay, look forward to that. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Just on that, I was, my Heston Central team have been in Hounslow West quite a bit last week with Tara Doyle doing Days of Action. I've been up there with them. And as I've alluded to earlier when speaking to people, we flex across. And given that Heston, everything's very close, my ward's very close to Heston, so Hounslow West, we go over there quite often. You also got the safer transport teams while they're still here, constantly working around Hounslow West. So it doesn't paint a good picture when we say we've only got 1 PC, but there isn't just 1 PC patrolling that area.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sally Bailey. I just wondered what happened to the e-bikes and whether they can be refurbished and given to charities who have bike clubs, like the church does, where we have people who live a long way out, and we like to refurbish and loan out bikes so that people can get to church.
The only problem with that, Sally, because they're owned by somebody else, unless they give them voluntarily, we can't give those bikes to anybody else. And because they've been modified and their motors have been changed and stuff, it's not something we would spend money to put the normal ones back in, so the cost would be too much. And because the ownership is of somebody else, unless they voluntarily, once they leave, they're never going to get them bikes back anyway.
So what happens to them?
They get destroyed.
Okay. And the normal pedal bikes that you pick up around
The normal
place?
pedal bikes go to an auction. Sadly, we can't. In the past, we used to try and do this, and then we were told we can't do that anymore, where we used to give them to charities.
Okay.
And we're told we can't, because again, it's all about ownership and stuff. And then if somebody comes up and says, that's my bike, so what we do is we send them off to auction, where lawfully, I think, around legislation and stuff, they can sell them off, and then that money goes off to charities and stuff.
Great, thank you.
I have a question. Like recently, there are so many drunk people around this area, like around the Bell Square, and it's quite intimidating when you're coming with the children. They are drunk all day, especially after like this time. If you're coming, and then there are they're sitting around, and then they're drunk and they're swearing, dropping things, chasing each other. It's a bit kind of not safe. And around, the Lidl area, there's a group of drunk people with some women there. They're playing, dancing, drunk, and this is quite alarming for me. When my daughter, she's having a tuition there, I don't feel safe for her coming around that time by her own. So, is there anything police is putting in place for handling these type of issues?
So we're working with the council and trying to rectify it. Bell Square is a unique place. They've got the benches there that support people to sit there. And they've moved, a lot of them moved from this side that we've pushed, and they've gone over towards Lidl and stuff. We are working on these, and these are the individuals we're trying to, because they don't commit enough offences to go to court. So we're doing the CPWs, the warnings and stuff, and try and get CBOs against these people. And then we put conditions on, they can't hang around with certain people and stuff. We are working on that, and some of them that you're talking about that hang around there will be part of the 18 that are waiting to be dealt with as they come along. We did try and get those benches removed from the little area, but I understand the council's problem because it's like a defined area. They hold events there as well and stuff, so people come and watch and they need somewhere to sit. We shouldn't let these people destroy our sort of little community there, but we are working on it, be assured. The town centre team are looking at it as well and see if we can get CBOs against these people in order to get them away from here. The only problem is, obviously, sometimes my teams finish at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. These people start congregating after. They know our shift patterns, so they'll congregate after that time. And then the response teams, which are already quite burdened with staff, have to deal with these things. And by the time sometimes they get there, they're not there anymore and stuff. And medically, when people are drunk, you can no longer arrest them. You have to take them to hospital, which then takes 4 to 6 to 8 hours. You have to sit there with that individual. So it's all about time and stuff. But without making excuses, we are looking at that. And hopefully within the next 3 to 6 months, you'll see a difference. Unfortunately, it takes time.
Thank you so much.
Just coming on that as well, if there's any environmental factors that you think are drawing them to that area, then as Inspector Khan said, if you contact us through the Met Police website and let us know what your concerns are, we can manage that more locally. It might be that one of those street lights has gone and they found a dark area to go. It might be that there's a load of old mattresses, duvets there, they've got comfortable. We'll go get rid of it. It might be as simple as that. There are some longer term plans, but sometimes just a bit of a change in the environment and we can move on from there so you and your daughter don't have to walk past it. So please communicate with us and we'll do whatever we can to help.
Even where I live, it's a block of flats, and where there's the communal bin area, there are lots of fly tipping and things like that. And so there were, quite not recently, 3 months ago, there were a group of youngsters. They used to gather in the blind, like where there's a lot of dark area. They used to weed and they do exchange things.
Okay.
And I wasn't sure where to report and how to go around with it.
So if you go onto the met.co.uk page, you can report, so minor ASB stuff, you can report on that. Like everything is, if it's urgent, it's always 999, or you can report it on 111.
Yeah, it's 101.
101, that's it, yeah. I keep getting mixed up with NHS. 101, so you can report it on there if it's non-urgent, or you can go online, quickly fill in that form. That'll go to your neighbourhood team for that area, and then they can review it. What we start what we call it like a report on the area, and then they have to update it every time. So they'll do something about it. So just go onto that website, it's easy, it takes 5 minutes to report it, and then we'll deal with the rest.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The gentleman at the back, please.
I've come here because some people, right, don't like what I say. Because I went up to his house, the one down there, and complained about a stall. You know the Great West Road, Hounslow? Nobody knows it? Do you know McDonald's?
McDonald's, yeah.
Right, we're on the right track. Do you know the kebab place in front of McDonald's?
Is that the trailer?
Pardon?
The trailer outside, in the lay-by?
Yeah, it's in the lay-by,
Yep.
yeah. And I went over there Monday. Well, just gone. And I asked for a large doner kebab. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah. I'm just
we're just waiting what the question is.
Yeah.
Right.
If you ask your question, because otherwise we're running late and running behind already, and these...
Oh, well, you didn't start till late. And I went over there and I told Mr. the bloke, large doner, please, mate. He said, all right. So he started cutting the chicken one off.
Can you ask me the question, please? Because I appreciate the story, but I could do with what is your question?
Yeah.
I don't know whether you can close the place down or not.
So that wouldn't be us. So that would be the council who issue the licenses for these
You
people
are
to
the
serve food.
council.
Excuse me.
We're the police.
This is the police, and they're really running short of time. So if you have a specific question that they can answer, please ask. Otherwise, please refrain from doing so. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank you, Inspector Khan and Sergeant Binns. Thank you very much for coming along this evening.
Thank
and
you
I know
very
you're
much.
both in a rush. Bye-bye.
Oh, is there
Thank
one
you.
more? We'll take that gentleman's question. I think he's got.
I beg your pardon.
Sorry, it's a very quick question. That when you report a crime in our neighborhood or my own street or wherever, you worried about that how much I'm putting myself in a danger. So can you assure me that if I report a crime on the online or telephone, my details are not as much available to the other people's? Because you worry that, you know, if I report a crime to, for example, 2 doors away from me, then they know that where I live and who has reported the crime.
So most of the stuff that you can give, you can do through Crime Stoppers, who take no details whatsoever, take information from you and they'll send it to us. Alternatively, if you do it online, we don't disclose anybody's information. The only time something like that would come into effect is if you and that other party are fighting, then obviously you already know. But if you just generally give us information to state that, you know, this is happening, there's cars visiting at this time of night, and you think there's drug dealing going on, that's information you're giving us. We would never disclose that to anybody else. Okay? What would happen is in the future, if we ever needed a statement from it, we would ask you. If you don't give us a statement, it's not a problem. We'd have to look at other evidence anyway. But rest assured, once you report anything, you don't want that to go anywhere else. It will never go anywhere else. Okay? So you are safe to report stuff online, or if you come to the police station and give information, we will put information on, but we'll take out your details.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Right. Our next item is about blood donations. I've forgotten something today, so apologies to all of you. I forgot to ask whether there's any declarations of interest or any other communications from members. No, that's good. Thank you. Yeah, we've done that. Thank you. And did everybody approve the minutes for the agenda last time? Sorry. Okay. Now we will go to agenda item 4. So the next agenda is about blood donations. I feel it's quite important to bring awareness of this, particularly in Hounslow, where donations are generally very low. It's important to support awareness raising for the recruitment of donors, that's blood and organ, of all ethnic backgrounds, as some religions or some people just feel very reluctant to donate. I am, however, particularly pleased this evening to welcome Mary Adeturimo from the NHS Blood and Transplant Services, who is going to be talking to us about it today, particularly as she is a recipient as well. And it is September is Sickle Cell Month, Awareness Month. So please let me introduce and welcome Mary. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Mary Adeturimo, and I am a sickle cell ambassador for NHS Blood and Transplant. Our organisation's mission is very simple. We aim to help people save lives through the gift of donation. And today I'll give an overview of what we do, focusing mainly on blood donation and why it is important. NHS Blood and Transplant is a public body of the United Kingdom's Department of Health and Social Care, and we provide blood and transplantation services to the NHS. This includes blood, organ, plasma, stem cell, and bone marrow donation. In terms of organs, the law did change in 2020 so that everyone is automatically opted on the organ donor registry. However, it's very important for you to have conversations with your friends and family to ensure that they are aware of your organ donation wishes, because loved ones are usually consulted and can overturn these decisions if they are unsure. Currently, there are 10,000 people who are waiting for a transplant in the UK, and one donor can save up to 9 lives. So for blood, approximately 5,000 units of blood is needed every day to supply our hospitals across the country. To also give some information about stem cell donation, it saves the lives of people with blood cancers and other diseases. And patients in need of this life-saving transplant are far more likely to have a better match from stem cell donors from the similar ethnic background as themselves. In relation to platelet donation, this can save the lives of 12 children with cancer. And lastly, I'll touch on plasma, which is used in medicines and can be used to treat over 50 different conditions. I'm mainly going to focus on blood donation for the rest, but in relation to this, about 1.4 million units of blood are issued to the hospitals every year, which is needed to transfuse patients. And as within England, only 2% of the eligible population does donate blood. And honestly, within our lifetime, we will probably know someone who will need a blood transfusion. Currently, 2/3 of the new donors are women and only 1/3 are men. And this is very significant because men can donate more times than women. They can donate 4 times a year as women who can only donate 3 times. And men are more suitable to donate plasma and platelets, more so because their blood contains fewer antibodies. We like to try to remind people all the time that one donation, and every time they donate, it can save up to 3 adult lives and 6 children's lives. Some of the common reasons why people would need to receive blood is, due to major surgery, operations, accidents that result in a lot of blood loss. Some people who have childbirth, or sometimes in terms of newborn babies. And this is also used to treat patients with hereditary conditions such as hemophilia, thalassemia, and sickle cell. And as mentioned, September is Sickle Cell Awareness Month, so I will be focusing more on discussing the impact of sickle cell and how blood donation really helps people who live with this condition. So I'll explain what sickle cell is for some people who are maybe hearing about it for the first time. But this is an inherited blood disorder, and it's because of a genetic mutation. The genes are passed down from both parents, and it affects the shape and function of the red blood cells. So instead of the cells being like a nice round shape that can carry oxygen well, the sickle cells are more crescent and moon-like. They get sticky and block blood vessels. And this really does affect people who live with this condition, as it can cause higher risk of infections, lead to organ damage, can also sometimes be quite fatal. People with this condition are in and out of hospital a lot of the time. So we have to, they might have to take a lot of pain relief just to be able to cope and manage with this. And approximately 17,000 people live with this condition in the UK, and approximately about 7.4 million people globally. And this does predominantly affect people from the African and Caribbean backgrounds. So in terms of a research study that I conducted, I'm just showcasing some of the outputs in relation to how people describe how they view the condition and some of the words you can see. But in terms of the drawing of the map, it's showing the healthcare interaction points that one patient might have to experience. So in purple, you see the treatments of how many, they have to have a lot of blood exchange, maybe have to have hospital admissions, seeing them going to counseling, and then in green, you see the consultations, so the amount of consultants that they might have to see just to manage their condition. This is a map of one person's experience, having, in terms of ophthalmologist, hematologist, all of these terms that you might be aware of. But as a sickle cell ambassador, I do try to ground the insights in sharing my lived experience. So I'm showcasing there's a group here of people who live with the condition and have family members who are impacted by the condition. And you can see in terms of, some of the challenges that people can face in terms of eye surgeries because the condition affects the can create visual impairment, having to have different procedures and treatments. And to be able to manage this condition, they put you on a blood exchange transfusion program. So I'm kind of going to now flow into the benefit of blood exchange or blood transfusions. But the healthcare professionals put me on this program, and it means that I would need 10 to 12 units of blood every 4 weeks. And this is just to be able to kind of manage the symptoms and to be able to remove the sickle cells from the body and then put healthy donor cells into the body. So to give some additional context, I don't know there's 12 people here, but what would happen is about 12 people every month would donate just so that a person can have a good quality of life, or in other people's cases, it's able to save their lives. And to give additional context, that's approximately 150 donations every year. So obviously in relation to, this is like one experience or one story I'm sharing, but I explained how many people will need or receive blood transfusions in their lifetime. So the numbers become larger and the demand continues to grow. In terms of the benefits, I like to try and say how it's helped, but it's allowed me to continue doing more research and advocating for this condition, as well as become a researcher, do some freelance research at Imperial College London. So this is bringing people or young people who live with sickle cell to the institution to learn about their condition from a scientific perspective. They get to speak to the consultants, and visit the labs and learn more about the condition, not just from experiencing it, but hearing about the great advancements that are happening. And in terms of the faces here, some of them would have received transfusions in their lifetime or be on the same program that I'm on. So I'm going to move on to touching a bit about the need for ethnically matched blood, but what is really important to be able to help people with these conditions is to be able to have, to receive blood from people who are from the same ethnic background as them. Conditions like sickle cell and thalassemia means that patients are regularly on transfusions, and for them to have better health outcomes, it would be better, and it is better if individuals from the African, Caribbean, Asian heritage are part of the donor base. We like to also share some myth-busting, some of the common myths that are around blood donation. People sometimes think it's a very long process. Some people think it might take a whole day before that. But truthfully it's an hour process, and if you're feeling relatively well, you can go back to your daily activities. Other people sometimes will be like, I don't have enough blood, and they're never gonna, when you donate, they're not gonna take more than, take about 470 milliliters of blood, and this is a completely safe amount, and an individual has about 8 to 10 liters of blood in their body. To share in relation to some of the eligibility criteria around being a donor, we say if you're between the age of 17 to 66, you could be eligible to donate, and there are some people who are still donating well into their 70s. There are some common reasons why people might have to check, but you can find this information on our website or in discussions with the healthcare professionals at the donor center. So as I wrap up, I'm just like to always reiterate that your one donation saves up to 3 lives. And if this presentation does inspire you to learn more about blood donation, you can scan the QR code or visit the website at www.blood.co.uk. So thank you for the opportunity to talk about this, and can be open for some questions.
Thank you very much, Mary. From the councillors, are there any questions for Mary, please? Councillor Batty.
Thank you, Chair. Just probably not sure whether I should ask that question. You mentioned African, black, brown, whatever. What about Chinese and and South American, for example? Thank you.
So we definitely need many people and everyone to be part of the process of blood donation, to register in terms of for blood or in relation to organ, but we do have a targeted effort to be able to reach our community, because especially in the African and Caribbean community, I can speak for, sometimes there are some mistrust and misgivings, and so to be able to normalize the conversations, we speak about it a bit more. But definitely we do need everyone to donate, but as it's Sickle Cell Awareness Month, I kind of focused on tying those two themes together. So it's not to say we do need everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would any of the residents like to ask any questions? Just wait for the microphone, please.
If somebody's anemic, is it possible for them to donate blood? I'm specifically asking for myself because I used to donate, but because from quite recently I'm being anemic. So can I do that?
They would have to check to see, because then if the levels are too low, then probably not. But if you check again at the donor center, they would be able to let you know if it's possible or not. And sometimes we say, try in relation to dietary, using diet to help improve with anemia, but they will never do anything to put you at risk. So,
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Councillor Chopra.
Hi there. I'm going to have to stand up. Hi there, I'm over here.
Hi.
I have to stand up, otherwise you'll never see me. Thanks for your presentation. It's really good to know about these things. Did I miss it? Did you say where they can go to donate?
So they can scan the QR code and register, and then there are various donor centres that are closer. They will have to check which ones are closer to them and their location, and that's, they'd be able to find out that info.
And is there like a list of different, if people have different illnesses that can't donate?
Yes.
Because this lady's just mentioned one, but there's a whole...
Yes.
People have various things, and maybe they might want to donate, but they'd like to know if they're not exempt.
So with some conditions, some people are not going to be eligible to. To give example, myself, I've received transfusions, so I can't. And you'd be able to look on the website. It has a strict list of information. There is a push for inclusivity, so there have been some changes in the rules for different people, some people to be able to donate, but if on the eligibility criteria you see the information to see that you're not able to, then one other thing is to tell friends and family, because if a person is not able to donate themselves, other people within the community can do so, because the truth is, it's like we're all going to be able to help in one way or another.
Thank you, that's good, because I just do feel that there's not enough awareness about this. So we do need to get a bit more awareness out there in the community. Thank you for coming.
That's okay.
Thank you, Mary. I just wanted to say that I have actually brought this to the area forum because it was of particular interest to me, because I have been donating blood for about 20 years. And you can donate blood at Feltham Assembly Hall, Councillor Chopra, and they do it here in the Horizons. And the reason I brought this onto the agenda was because the last time I donated blood, which was a couple of months ago, there were very few people there donating, and I got into a conversation. And they said that Hounslow has a low turnout. So I just really hope that we can encourage more people to donate. It's extremely easy to do so. It's painless. It takes about 40 minutes to an hour, and you'll get a biscuit at the end of it and a glass of squash if that entices you. And the nice thing is, though, after a couple of weeks, you'll just get a little text telling you where your blood's gone, which hospital, St. George's, nothing more. But I really I'd love it if more people donated. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mary. Right, and the next agenda item, it's our community spotlight, and it's an update for Inwood Park, and I would like to welcome Liam Moore, the head of Green Spaces and Cemeteries. Liam has provided some very welcome support to volunteers across the parks, for example, to the Friends of Inwood Park, and I hope some of you will have spoken to them and seen some of the bird and hedgehog boxes that were placed on the table over there. And anyway, Liam has agreed to provide us with an update today on green space activities with the support of Sarah Oxborough from Friends of Inwood Park. So thank you and welcome.
So just going to start with a quick update about generic parks within the wards that we're talking about tonight, and then we can move on to Inwood Park in particular. Oh, okay. So the parks in the ward. So Hounslow Parks and Open Spaces submitted 20 parks this year to the Green Flag Award criteria. It's the first year that we achieved all of the Green Flag Awards across the borough, but in particular for this ward, Thornbury, Inwood, Hounslow Heath and Beaversfield achieved the awards again this year, which is great news, and thanks to the friends and all of the volunteers and all of the parks and open spaces that we have. Fly tipping and littering is a huge problem across the parks, and it does draw our resources. So we have litter collection schedules that you can see on the screen now, allocated for the parks within this current ward, most of which get a collection on a daily basis. We've been working with the council enforcement teams and partners to issue fixed penalty notices for people that are fly tipping, and over a 3-week period we issued fines to a total of £27,000. One of the big drivers of fly tipping in the borough is domestic fly tipping. So below are some examples of daily problems at bins across the borough, and this does particularly affect this ward as well. So, you know, if you see people fly tipping, please do report it to the council so they can take some action to try and stop it. We have 29 active allotment sites across the borough, 3 of which are within these wards. Our occupancy level is currently at 93.4%, and there's a mix of mowing operations and lettings and viewings that we do. The key issues for allotments at the moment are the tampering of water supplies, which causes damage to the systems, and then we get leaky pipes all over the place. So that's one of the problems we have. Currently, we are doing our tree inspection and maintenance programs, so the very cyclical programs. We currently have responsibility for parks, open spaces, housing and some corporate property areas across the borough, as well as the Lambton Leisure portfolio. We are currently out watering, or we're not anymore, but we were currently out watering throughout the summer period, using around 3,000 litres of water a day to try and keep some of the new trees alive. But thank you again to volunteers, and particularly the Friends of Inwood Park, who have been out watering as well to try and keep everything moving. We are currently working on updating our GIS mapping systems to provide, so you can see on here we've got the Earthlight systems that we currently use and then the Arbitrack map, so we can get all of data for all of the trees across the borough. So this is where we manage all of our inspections and our tree condition surveys, and we're doing this across the borough. It's going to take us another sort of 18 months to complete, and it helps to provide a lot of data on species, location, height, shading and carbon sequestration. So you can see here, and we will be able to see very shortly, how much carbon's being stored in each one of our parks or housing estates across the borough, and how much it's going to capture over the next 5 years. And that's pretty much a very quick run through of our operations.
Thank you. Sarah, do you have anything to tell us about Inwood Park and any of the activities? Because you've all been very busy there, I know, doing lots of stuff.
Yeah. Thank you. So for Inwood Park, we have a friends group that we took on about 3 years ago now. With the idea and with all of the thoughts of actually encouraging more biodiversity into the park, and equally getting more people into the park and really enjoying that green space that is there. Thanks to Councillor Saeed, she's donated some of her neighbourhood grants. Last year we were able to put some more plants out into parts of the park. And this year we've got some bird boxes, bat boxes, hedgehogs, again, to just try and encourage more wildlife into the park. We've also done a couple of volunteering days where we had probably about 20 people each time come down to help with the planting, weeding, litter picking, and all things like that. Just again to bring more community spirit back into the park, get some life into it. At the park we've got the cycle hub that is very well used throughout the weekends. There's also a little water splash that I know the children love to use during the summer. And with the help of Lambton and our static gardener, Simon. They do keep a really good park. That's pretty much it, really.
Thank you very much. Would any of the councillors like to ask questions from of Liam, I beg your pardon, and Sarah?
Thank you, Chair. Very many thanks to Inwood Park team. That's a splendid job. There are also other organisations that are doing a fantastic job in Hounslow. Very much needed, more support they need all the time. That's what they ask me. But the question that councillors, I and my colleagues, I'm sure, get asked, and that is, I'm asking Liam, because I've seen underneath there Lambton Services. Whether that is in your domain, I'm not sure. It's the weed growing, footpaths, slabs broken, things like that. Is that your area at all, or can you take this up? Because where I live, people come to me because they see me as a councillor and they say, look at this weed. It's as big as the fence walls, even bigger. Yeah. So they come around once, maybe 6 months, maybe even more, spray something that they started doing now, and it hasn't really resolved the issue. Weed is still there, maybe not as brilliant and bright, but it's still unsightly. Could you give me some idea?
Okay, so it very much depends where the weed is growing. So if it's in the park, open space, cemetery, allotment, or a housing estate, it would be down to my teams. I suspect you're talking about the highways, though, and that would be down to Hounslow highways. So the borough did have a little bit of a ban on the use of some of the herbicides that we previously used. That ban has been reversed for a temporary period of time. And so you can see them out spraying. Like you said, it will take time for them to get that under control. But yeah, if it's on a public footpath or a roadway, just report it via Fix My Street, and Hounslow Highways will look at it.
Thank you.
Hi, Liam. Are you well? Just wanted to know, Council for Hounslow West, and we've got Beavers Park, which was on your list. It's a great park. There's a lot of work going on at the moment. I'm not sure what the latest is on that. I know it was supposed to finish soon, but some of it keeps getting delayed. So maybe you could give us an update on that if you can. A couple of other things, if I may. Could you tell us if you have regular like stewards or enforcement patrols that come round to check the park? Probably during the working hours or even after working hours? That would be good to know. And lastly, because I don't want you to get away easily, do I? Collection of bins, how often the bins are collected. Is it daily or is it a number of times per day? You can take them in any order you like.
No, that's fine. So I think the first bit talking about there is the pump track, the cycle track that's due completion. There's a couple of little bits that need to be finished on that and some seeding that needs to be done. We're looking to get that open within sort of the next month, I think. It's not a project we're leading on, but we are supporting with some of the finishing works. So I'll make sure that I provide you an update on that as soon as possible. Litter collection in the park is on a daily collection. It is on a Monday to Sunday, and that does include bank holidays. Although we do have some issues on site with street drinking in particular, and actually Beaversfield Park is one of the parks that we are really struggling with domestic fly tipping, and you saw some of the examples there. So yes, we did visit Beaversfield Park with our enforcement colleagues on that 3-week trial, but in terms of patrols, that's something that's outside of green spaces management, but it's something we can bring to the attention of the enforcement teams as well, for their neighbourhood patrols.
So that would be Hounslow enforcement, not sort of Hounslow highways?
That'd be Hounslow's neighbourhood enforcement teams, yes.
Okay. And if you feel that the bins are getting overly full, would it be possible to get more than one collection a day?
It's always it's a very difficult thing to balance our resources, and so we do change our litter collections. Every year we look back at all the service requests we've received or any issues in particular parks and try to adjust as best we can but we're not going to be able to get to every bin more than once a day, unfortunately, across the borough.
Okay. The help with the enforcement would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll find quite a lot of the time that's actually the bin itself will not be at capacity, but it will be domestic fly tipping that has been put in or around the bin that gives the perception that there's a collection problem.
No, I meant enforcement as in, you know, things going on and if people could patrol.
Yeah, so not something I can promise, but yes, absolutely, we can bring it to the attention of the
Yeah, I
right.
understand. Yeah, if you take it forward. Thank you.
Just one quick question, Liam. When somebody applies for an allotment, how long can they expect to wait before they get an allotment?
Oh, that's the magic question, isn't it? So currently we have around 1,950 tenant allotment plots available across the borough. There are, at the latest count, there was nearly 2,300 people currently on the waiting list. I can't give you an exact because it varies site by site. Some sites you could be waiting sort of 2 years. There are other sites where the wait is in excess of 20 years at the moment.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you for attending. Would anybody like to ask any questions? No? Okay, thank you very much,
Chair,
Liam, for the update.
sorry.
And thank you to
Chair,
Sarah.
sorry.
Yes, Councillor
Can I
Chopra.
have just one last one on the back
Councillor
of that?
Chopra would like to ask you another.
It will relate to the allotments, because I've had a lot of people asking me about allotments, and you said there's a big waiting list. What happens about where people have got an allotment, but they're not actually doing anything with it? How do we monitor that? And you know, how long do you give them some time before they can use it, otherwise take it away from them? Because that would help the long list, wouldn't it?
We do, yes. So we do carry out non-cultivation inspections every year to make sure people are using the allotments, and there is a sort of use it or lose it policy. There are certain situations where, you know, we've had tenants that have had medical problems or family problems and they haven't been able to tend to it, and, you know, we judge every individual case on its merits. But, you know, people do tend to, or tenants have in the past tended to, when they abandon the plot, leave it in quite a poor condition. And with limited resources, it can take a little bit of a while to get around and clear them. But yes, we do actively check our allotment sites very regularly and make sure that people are using them.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, yes, of course, you may ask. Will you just wait for a microphone, please? Thank you.
Just on the allotments, I just wondered if you'd ever thought of, like, cutting the plots in half. So if you've got 2,000 plots and you've got 2,000 people on the waiting list, if you cut them all in half, then everybody could have a go. Just a thought, particularly when they come up, you know, when they become vacant, because often they're really big spaces and people might struggle to manage a whole plot. And I just wondered if you do subdivide, just an idea.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So allotment plots are generally measured in rods. So 10 rods is about 120 square metres. Most of our sites now have a mix of 10 and 5 rod plots. And we also trialled the introduction of micro plots a few years ago, which wasn't particularly successful. But yeah, absolutely. When we bring plots back off of tenancies that are 10 rods, we will look to split them where we can, and it's feasible, dependent on the makeup of each individual plot.
Thank you very much. Thank you both. Right. Thank you. Now we come to that exciting part of the evening, the open forum. We normally have a lot of residents wanting to ask questions, but I get the feeling this evening that's not going to be the case. However, I would just like to say if anybody does have any questions, just remember to please be concise. And on that note, I would just like to ask if anybody would like to ask any questions at all. Thank you.
So I want to ask about the fly tipping that was being raised as well, and that's a big issue in the borough as well. So I live in Wivenhoe Court, which is around Saints Road, and I live in a block of flats, and that's our communal bin area. That's a cardboard. And last month we disposed of some cardboard in the communal area, but I got a fly tipping notice from the council about £2,000, which is due to be paid within 14 days. That's our communal area, and the only problem with that was that day my children didn't take off the address. And it was being placed in the cardboard disposable area. What happened next day, I have no idea who put it out and how did they take the pictures. And that, especially that area, the communal area, is always been fly-tipped with the mattresses, with the broken beds, fridges, oven, and everything, you can name it, and it's always there. Being myself, living in that area, how is it fly tipping, and what should I, as a resident, should do? I did appeal the day before yesterday, and that I'm still being blamed for being fly tipping. And I want to know, like, how somebody can pay £2,000 or £1,000 within 14 days from that notice.
Yeah, I totally understand and sympathise. What I would suggest is that you send an email to myself or to any of the councillors here, and we will then forward it to the correct department, and you should have a response. I mean, £2,000, even £1,000 is a huge amount of money. So if you could do that, that would be very helpful.
Should I email send to you? Or?
Yeah, that would be absolutely fine. I can give you my email address,
Okay.
no problem.
Oh, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
no problem.
Chair.
Yes, and Councillor Batty.
Thank you, Chair. May I just know, where do you live? Which ward? Staines Road, did you say? It's Hounslow Heath ward, Chair. Staines Road?
Yes. Is it Hounslow West?
Oh, you know about it?
So you're on the right end, you're on the Sainsbury end. Sainsbury's end.
Don't. Councillor, we can take the residents' details and discuss it afterwards.
Are you on the side of Jahal?
No, it's the Sainsbury side.
Sainsbury side, so it's Hounslow West.
Yeah. And it's either Councillor Chopra, it's Councillor. Okay, so anyway, we'll do that. Okay, thank you very much. No other questions? Thank you.
Sorry, I was going to ask something similar too. That when you have fly tipping problems in the shared driveway, when you try to contact the council, they say that no, his shared driveway is not the kind of a council property, it's a private property, so they can't deal with it. And you don't know who has dropped it in the night because it's shared driveway, and it's not my own property either. Neither my neighbors claims that is his property. And he said if somebody has dropped it, that's it. Somebody got to take the bill for it, that kind of things.
Perhaps the quickest thing to do is go on to Fix My Street, and Hounslow Highways usually come along to collect everything.
Would they do it even if it's in a shared driveway, private property sort of thing?
Not if it's in somebody's driveway, no.
Shared driveway is nobody's driveway kind of things.
I don't know, the best thing is just to use Fix My Street and see what happens. If not, contact your local ward councillor. Okay. And either by phone, all the phone numbers and email addresses are available on the website.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Well, I think we've come to that part of the evening almost. This is the last part. This is just a little bit of good news. As we said last time, we would always like to include a little bit about our area and what goes on within our areas. So today I would briefly like to share the story of our local static gardener, which is basically another name for an old-fashioned park keeper. His name is Simon Gerard, and he's been looking after Inwood Park for 17 years. He's very pleased. He didn't want to come along today. He was asked, but so we are speaking on his behalf. He's very pleased that the water park is up and running, and he has taken special care to plant shrubs alongside the road in order to provide privacy for the children who use that area and to make the area safe for all of the users. Simon is always looking at ways to stopping all the druggies and the drinkers, cutting plants back and keeping it safe. His biggest frustration at the moment, and I know many others from the Friends of Inwood Park, is the number of plants which are being stolen as soon as they are being planted, and even lots of flowers are being plucked as if it were a florist where they can go and take them. Anyway, Simon is the park's friendly face and provides a safe place to go if anything happens. He works alongside community volunteers to do daily litter picks, and he always welcomes volunteers and visitors for a chat. If any of you would like to visit Simon and have a chat, please go over to Inwood Park on any weekday and say hello before he retires. The other thing we'd like to say here is that if anybody else knows of any other resident or a small group of people that are making a difference to our area, that is the central Hounslow area, please do share their story, because we would love to include it next time on the good news item. Please remember that this was all recorded today and that the recording will be available for you all to listen to very eagerly, I'm sure, online. Before we bring the meeting to a close tonight, I would like to say thank you to everybody who came along with the market stall holders, to the police, to Mary for coming along and sharing her story, to Liam, to Sarah, to Jean, to Simon. And I would also like to say thank you to Yag and Gary, and to Jazz, Amoy, Jane, and I hope I haven't forgotten Emily and Christopher, because without you all, we wouldn't have this at all. I hope I haven't forgotten anybody, but thank you all anyway. Any other urgent business? Oh, Amoy, please.
Just a reminder,
Yes.
if you would like to give some feedback on the area forum, just come over to me and I'll give you a pen and a feedback form. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
The top bit, do you want me to give it to the councillor?
Date of the next meeting is the 27th of January 2026. The meeting is now closed, and I would like to thank those of you who have sat with us through this evening. Thank you.